Can I first pay tribute to the Honourable Member for Poplar and Limehouse, both for bringing this debate, but also for her courage in consistently speaking out on her own experiences. It is an incredibly brave thing to do, and I do hope she's receiving the support that she both deserved but has felt previously has not been forthcoming in the past, because she warrants it. It is vital that women feel able to share our stories, because too often society still attempts to inflict shame on us, as if there is some fault, some responsibility on the survivor. There is not. Male violence against women and girls is an act of cowardice, and every woman in this room, and indeed this country, has a memory which makes us shudder. A moment in time when we felt unsafe or under threat, and those memories stay with us, and they shape us, and we cannot shake them. So it's our duty in this place to do everything we can to prevent future generations from experiencing the same feeling that we all describe differently, but we all know exactly what it is. To give our voices to all survivors, particularly to women like Giselle Pellico, who have stood in strength and demanded that the videos of men raping her were shown in open court. As she said, it is not us that should feel shame, but them, the perpetrators. Male violence is found in our homes, our schools, our universities, outside clubs, in the streets. There is almost no space where it's absent. And I should make clear that I use the term male violence because VAUG excludes the role of the perpetrator. It shifts the focus from the individual who should feel ashamed and guilty to that of women and girls. And indeed, male victims also overwhelmingly experience violence at the hands of other men. Now, much of this violence comes from a sense of entitlement. A man's belief that they have an entitlement to a woman's body or to control her, but they have no entitlement. And I thank all colleagues here today for sharing their experiences and those of their constituents. I would in particular like to mention the Honourable Member for Folkestone, because he is right, there is a crisis of masculinity, and we have to work harder, but it comes from parenting and the decisions that individuals make in their home. Also the member for Rugby who touched on this, and also the comments about the media. The way that they talk about women, whether it be when they're missing, and it be suggested it be due to their menopause, or whether it's due to an attack that they are facing. It is wrong. I also welcome the Honourable Gentleman from Rugby's comments about women who are deaf, and just how important it is that we make sure... Oh, apologies for it. Wrong gentleman, same point. I welcome you making those comments. Fighting for girls and women in our communities is one of the most important acts an MP can do, and it breaks my heart every time I meet a victim or survivor. But every time my team and I, especially Lisa, we fight to get those women to safety and to help them navigate the system and secure prosecutions. And we can as MPs. There are people now in prison because MPs have referred cases to the police where they did not have the guts to do so before because they did not feel listened to. So this is an issue where we must work together in the House, and it's an issue the previous government took extremely seriously. And I want to pay particular tribute to Baroness Lady May for her work as both Home Secretary and Prime Minister, to my friend Laura Farris, the former member for Newbury, and the old members for Louth and Horncastle and Maidstone. Over the last 14 years, we've brought in offences to better protect women and bring perpetrators to justice, from stalking to ending the rough sex defence, to the vile sharing of intimate images or revenge porn, to the non-consensual taking of images of a woman breastfeeding and upskirting, while also raising the maximum penalties for harassment. We also supported survivors to give evidence behind closed doors and to be cross-examined without having to wait for trial. And I'm grateful for the own part that I was able to play back in 2012 as a civil servant at the Ministry of Justice, bringing in that first victim service, but also more support for people, particularly from slavery, and also the first domestic abuse service for gay men. We also developed and rolled out Operation Soteria across all police forces in 2023, and the project led to the development of the first national operating model for the investigation of rape and serial sexual offences. And on this matter, I'd be grateful if the Minister can tell me whether she's assessed the performance of the rollout and whether she's going to continue to develop the operation. We also passed the Domestic Abuse Act in 2021, which is world-leading. It created a legal definition of domestic abuse encompassing financial, verbal, emotional abuse as well as physical and sexual, but it also recognised that abuse is a pattern over time. Importantly, it also recognised that children are explicitly victims if they witness abuse. We relaunched the Flexible Fund in January with a further £2 million investment to help remove barriers to domestic abuse survivors leaving their abusers. So I'd be grateful if the Minister confirmed this funding will continue for this important programme. These actions highlight that we took action that was important, and whilst they were necessary, more still needs to be done. There continues to be an epidemic of male violence in our country and across the world. And it's no surprise when the rape of women, but never of men, is normalised on our TV screens as a storyline. When even in this place, some people diminish their own acts and demonstrate a lack of responsibility for the actions of their past, which serve to re-traumatise the survivors. Globally, women's global rights, bodily rights are under attack. There is gender apartheid underway in Afghanistan and a femicide taking place in Iran. Knowing the Minister, I'm absolutely certain that she will do everything she can to better protect survivors and to crack down on male perpetrators. If anything, this is her life's work, and I'm pleased she has the opportunity now to lead on that area that she cares so very passionately about. The government's proposal to cut the rate of violence against women and girls in a decade is a significant target that could transform the lives of so many. The Home Secretary stated last week that the policy was ambitious and no other country had said it before. But as I understand it, they're still determining how to measure progress. So I'd be grateful if the Minister can set up precisely what measures and metrics will be used to measure the rate of violence against women and girls. I also welcome the government's focus on spiking over the weekend, the commitment to create a separate criminal offence, which we had hoped to bring forward in the Criminal Justice Bill, and of course we fully support. I would stress to any victims out there, spiking is already a criminal offence, and the reason for creating a new spiking offence is so that we can better understand the picture of spiking nationally and get more prosecutions. Because at the moment, the police are recording it as an offence against a person, as sexual violence or assault, and that means we can't make interventions that need to be taken. There are a few other issues where I'd be grateful if the Minister could share her thoughts with us, and the first has been touched on by some others, the prevalence of violent porn and its impact on young boys and men. The increasing normalisation of violence during sex for young people worries me greatly. The viewing figures of porn are concerningly high, with children being exposed to this content without searching for it, and even porn depicting rape. Now, whilst the online harm bill goes some way to better protect children, the access obviously continues into adulthood and continues to shape the attitudes and behaviours of young men. So what actions is the Minister considering working with government to tackle this content? Can I finish, Sir Mark, by thanking all those organisations across our country, but particularly in Rutland, Stamford and the South Kesteven and Harbour villages, for all you do to protect and support women and girls from violence. But I also want to finish by thanking my father and ultimately all those fathers out there who were the ultimate feminists and who raised me and women across this country to believe that violence has no role in relationships or in the home. Shame lies with the perpetrator alone, and we must never accept status quo while women and girls continue to suffer.